Tom.
Here it comes.
You're Loki. How the heck did that happen?
It is the most improbable, unlikely, and perhaps even inappropriate thing. How did it happen? Let's go deep.
I'm listening.
We must go! Let's go! No!
See you in hell, monster.
Hi. Surprise!
I was in a play with Kenneth Branagh, Chekhov's Ivanov, and in the middle of the run of that play, he announced he was going to be directing Thor. I was playing a very priggish and self-righteous young doctor, looking not dissimilar to how I look today. And as a joke, in the interval, I ran upstairs and I had grabbed an empty water cooler and pretended it was Thor's hammer. It was a bad joke, but maybe the seeds of the trickster somewhere in there. Anyway, the following spring, I was in LA auditioning for everything. And one of the things I was auditioning for was Thor, and they were auditioning the title role, and I was up for Thor, and people know that. And then Kevin Feige said, how about Loki? And I said, that's great, and because actually I knew it was going to be a great part.
We always were putting our chips on Loki. We believed in him as a character. Had Tom not brought him to life in a way the audience responded to, it probably wouldn't have gone anywhere.
And I'm sat here today, and it's 2018, and I don't quite know how.
And then it became Loki Mania.
Yeah.
Guys, you look incredible. Can we hear it one more time for these guys?
Your character hit a spot with people that maybe you saw coming, but it just landed. I mean, t-shirts and posters and like tumblers that go on forever.
What was it like? The height of it was probably Comic-Con 2013. That was the height of it. I mean, Kevin Feige, I have to give acting credit to him, because we did this whole bit where he was coming out and saying, no one's here for the panel, and everyone started booing.
We're in post-production of a movie called Thor: The Dark World right now, which is...
And then they turned the lights off, and they thought it was a technical fault, and then out I came.
Humanity. Look how far you've fallen.
I was there and the room was on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew it. The heat must have been like...
Yes. Partly, I put that down to surprise, in a way, that it was just a bit odd. It's a slightly odd thing to do.
I am Loki.
And I did this ridiculous speech.
Of Asgard.
It was mad.
And I am burdened with glorious purpose.
It was bonkers.
Say my name!
I suppose what's interesting is I don't really look like him. So I at least have the relief of just not quite being him.
And you don't wear the horns on the street.
I don't wear the horns on the street. And so when people meet me, they're confronted by my kind of shattering ordinariness.
I'm a god, you dog creature.
Yes, you are.
Tom, hi.
And realize that there's absolutely nothing that resembles anything divine or archetypal. I'm just a sort of like, hello, an overgrown ginger kid from Wimbledon.
I love the idea that people walk up to you and say, oh my God, it's Tom. And then they go, oh, it's Tom.
Oh, it's Tom. Oh.
Go.
Bit of a shame. Kind of was expecting Loki there, but I've been to all sorts of corners of the world and everyone knows who Loki is. That's been an eye-opener. I've sort of found a pocket of the planet that just is uninhabited, and somebody will pop up and say, hey, Mr. Loki. I'll be like, hello.
What was your first reaction when you had the costume fitting and they said, right, here is your crown, your antlers?
Yes.
Were you like, really?
Well, it was really interesting. I remember those many, 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 many costume fittings and thinking, how are we going to make these horns work? Those initial journey into mystery panels that Stan Lee drew. Anyone wearing a crown of horns like that is going to imbalance and topple over. So it was like, how do we make this work?
It's a structural event, putting the crown on.
It really is, yeah.
I've noticed watching these movies too many times, I mean, Loki's really grown.
He really grows on you, doesn't he?
And people have often said how he's the best villain, and I still maintain he is. He, you.
You're a monster.
Oh no. You brought the monster. I tried to make a sort of internal mantra to always try and enjoy myself, to be having the best time, because he's an embodiment of mischief. there had to be that twinkle, that even if he was doing something nefarious or treasonable, and sometimes, you know, he's done terrible things, Loki.
Yeah.
That there's some twinkle in it that's like, that just wants to see how far he can.
It's incredible where we were at with Ragnarok, where he had, in the Avengers, tried to take over the world, killed many, many people, and it's like, oh, what's he like?
Great planning. How was I supposed to know? Can't see into the future, I'm not a witch.
No? Why'd you dress like one?
Hey.
Yeah, oh, come on, Loki.
He's a cheeky one.
Yeah.
I tell you what's helped with the expression of that is your rapport with Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Now they're following us.
Which is such a delight, and I think it's obviously been displayed more and more and more.
Now they're firing at us. Yeah, thank you for the commentary, Loki. It's not at all distracting.
What are your fondest memories of working with him? Obviously, in the first film, you were like, oh, well, took my gig, but fine.
Never, not once. I promise you, never, really. I remember meeting him for the first time in England at Kenneth Branagh's house. First of all, like everybody else, was astonished at his general size. He's a very large human being. And I thought, I definitely found the right guy. And he was so warm and open and relaxed and funny and charming.
I'm not hitting it, I'm pressing it, I'm pressing it.
Pressing it.
Yes, I am.
And we had this, we did a bit of reading together, and then famously we went off and he was lifting tree trunks and I taught him some yoga. And I remember in that moment we sort of looked at each other and went, this is gonna be crazy, isn't it? And we were just friends from that point on. And then the Marvel Universe has grown far beyond any of our expectations. And so sharing that journey has been a sort of, you know, you've got something to look across at and be like, this is insane, isn't it?
Are we recording this?
They are. You are in a red cape being really camp.
That's how I get in the character, bro.
When Avengers ended, did you know at that point that you might be back? Because by the time Avengers ended, I thought, well, they can't get rid of Loki. They can't.
Having played the antagonist twice, I understood, well, obviously at some point I'm gonna just step aside. And there was a version of Thor: The Dark World where there was a kind of conclusive...
That's the end of that then.
That's the end of that then.
Your brother's not coming, is he?
Loki is dead.
Oh, thank God. I'm so sorry.
He's been an interesting companion, a shadow, over through the last few years in a way.
What moments stand out to you as your favourite Loki moments?
As you've mentioned, I love my scenes with Chris. In every film, there's a two-hander where we kind of touch on this.
She wouldn't want us to fight.
Fractious, fraternal relationship that they have.
Well, she wouldn't exactly be shocked.
And there's always a conversation like, just maybe it'd be easier if we got on.
And then, of course, there's Puny God, which must have followed you around for ages.
Enough! You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
Puny God.
I watched the whole of Avengers again while we were making Thor Ragnarok. Because there were so many echoes of Hulk smashing.
That's how it feels!
I'm just a huge fan of the sport.
I wanted just to see what we were referencing, and I hadn't seen the film for 5 years, and I thought the construction of Loki being Hulk smashed is just so well done. And I remember the experience of making it, which made me feel like an insane person. It was just because there was no Mark Ruffalo, it was just me jumping into trenches in the set, asking Joss Whedon, is this really gonna work? Yes, it is. Jump into the trench, Tom. Okay, Joss.
Was Joss directing you saying, could you let out a groan of resigned pain? I mean...
Yes, Loki lets out a squeal of resignation and despair.
Sorry, I made myself laugh.
I have seen footage of you maybe cracking up just a little bit.
Yeah, it was the end of a long day of trench jumping.
We've all been there.
We've all been there.
Trench jumping, it's a very funny thing. What have been your favourite improvised moments over the years?
Get help.
Get help.
Hey, let's do Get Help.
What?
Get Help.
No, Get Help was genuinely improvised and was called Dead Fish initially. And Taika came in and was like, it's like, I think you guys should throw Loki at the guards and say, let's play Dead Fish. And it was this idea that somehow, as children, they'd invented this game where Loki pretended to be a dead fish. But then we thought, no one will understand that.
Get help! Please! My brother's dying! Get help! Help him!
So it became Get Help.
Oh, classic.
Yeah.
It does work.
Run from it. Destiny still arrives.
And finally, at the risk of being a bit somber here, but at some point, Loki won't be on the poster, and you will have to say goodbye to him. How are you preparing yourself for that? How does that make you feel?
Goodness. It's been amazing. It's been 10 years of my life. A significant chapter, because I feel like I've worked in the Marvel Universe substantially less than lots of people in this. And I was sort of in at the ground floor or just after. And then as I went off and did other things, I've watched all the other films, and often on the opening weekend like everybody else. And I feel this huge rush of pride for all of them. Like all these actors I've worked with or not, or seeing people join the universe who I've known from before, and I think, yeah, off you go get it. And see the films get braver and more expansive and more profound, especially if you look at the most recent, if you look at like Black Panther and Doctor Strange. There's some very profound things in those films, and I just feel lucky to be in it, lucky to be part of the whole thing. And I forget sometimes that I was in them myself. It's very weird, I can't explain it, but it does happen. It's been fun coming back in and feeling like a kind of like an old hand or something. I'm not an old hand, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
It's lovely. This is like an ex-interview, possibly. But Tom, thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
It's been a real honour, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. For more, check out my BBC iPlayer show, Movies with Ali Plumb, and don't forget to listen to me on Greg James's show on BBC Radio 1 every Thursday at about 6:15, where you can hear the very latest movie reviews from yours truly.